Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to TTTV, and this is TTL F1, the season finale, which takes us to the Brazilian Grand Prix. My name is Kieran McGinley, did you miss me? And joining me in the commentary box for tonight is Andy Campbell. Andy, it's good to be back, it's good to see you again, or at least hear from you again. How have you been doing?
I've been not too bad, a bit choked up unfortunately. There's a hell of a flu cold bug going around where I am, and well, I got levelled with it last week for a bit, and the cough doesn't want to leave me, but I'm still here and still fighting away. And season finale is upon us. It is Interlagos. It is the track that should be the finale in most people's opinions. We know Spike agrees with it. I agree.
now.
And what it also means though for me is I get to crack out the corner names.
Yes, there's only one corner name that I get one attempt at, and for the rest of the race, I will not attempt it. I will not even attempt to say it. But when we get to that corner, Andy, I'll give it my best shot. I only got one shot. I wonder
what corner that is.
I think you know which corner it is. But anyway, the point is, as you can see along the top banner there, is that legendary Senna S. Obviously, sort of downhill and cambers towards the apex as you head towards turn 1. Then it is downhill through turn 2, and then towards that long left-hander of turn 3. Andy, what's some tips about this track? Because there's quite a bit of undulation. You don't realise it as you're actually driving around the track.
Yeah, no, definitely. So there's a lot of changes, a lot of elevation change. As you mentioned, the first turn into the Senna S, it is cambered slightly into the corner, it is starting to drop downhill. Turn 2 looks easy to head onto the curve of the Sol at turn 3, but because of that downhill nature, it is actually quite tricky. The rear end can go light very quick, and you come down towards turn 4 again, you're still dropping down, then you start rising back uphill again. Turn 9, there's a tricky corner as well because that's cambered. There's a lot of cambered corners here. It does make it very tricky, but it is an old school track, and it brings us some phenomenal racing, whether that be real life, whether that be in sim racing. It's always good to come to Interlagos, guys. It's just one of those tracks that is guaranteed to bring action.
Guaranteed. Did you hear that, everybody? Guaranteed to bring you action.
Okay, nearly guaranteed.
Well, here we are then for the season finale. The Drivers' Championship has already been wrapped up. Of course, Jack claimed his second title and joined to the illustrious list, I have to say, Andy, of drivers who've won it in the past, and nonetheless who've won it multiple times. If I bring up the honours list, he now brings himself onto 2 Drivers' Championships, putting himself up there with Liam Hustwick and Crazy Leg, equaling them both for Drivers' Championship. That means there's only one more driver to try and contend with, Andy, and that's the most successful driver in TTL history. So no pressure there for Jack.
No, not at all, but obviously that particular driver you mentioned, which is of course Blizzard, he's not been here for a while, and obviously whether he will come back to TTL F1 in the future or not remains to be seen. But, you know, Jack's getting up there, 2 Drivers' Championship, 4 Constructors' Championships, with a chance of making it 5 tonight as well, which I know you're going to come on to in a minute, and the Challenge Cup. And I don't know what the Challenger Classic Cup is going to be for the end of the season next week, if it is definitely still happening, but it usually means a lot of fun, that's for sure. But Jack is definitely right up there now, second most successful driver in TTL F1 behind Blizzard, and he's certainly on his way to trying to catch up to him as well.
Yeah, I heard rumours, they're only rumours, but I have heard rumours it could be a 100% race. Ooh.
Well, Maze has just put in the chat, it is a classic cup, so it's classic cars.
So it won't be 100% then? No, it won't be. I'm just making up rumours, who knows? Who actually
What kind of car could it be though? Ooh, there's a question.
Ooh. Why don't we give him like the 1976 McLaren?
Ooh. Either that or the Ferrari 312.
Oh yes, what, the 312T?
Yeah, the T. Yeah, the one that. Yeah, exactly. They're around at the same time.
The front wing that's higher than the entirety of the car. Yes, I love it. Yes, put him in that one.
Oh gosh.
But for now, though,
That'd be
we
fun.
have to put up with these 1,000 kilogram cars that have, they're the most aerodynamically efficient cars we've ever seen in the sport. I guess we just have to watch those, Andy.
Yeah, however, I've just noticed one thing, the weather, man. It's going to be a wet race. Now there's a cat in the pigeons.
There is a cat thrown amongst the pigeons. So, what that means is it's going to be wet for the race. Now, whether that's going to be wet for the race start is going to be another question. Now, if it is wet for the start, and if it's wet for the majority of the race, drivers in this qualifying session will surely be going for a wet setup, Andy.
You'd imagine so.
Which would mean slower times in qualifying. I guess we're going to find out.
We're going to find out soon enough for sure, absolutely. Obviously, wet race, we'll need to wait and see what that actually does mean. Does that mean a full wet setup? How do they go about it? Because obviously parc fermé rules mean that you're stuck to the setup you pick in qualifying. So if you pick a setup which is a fully dry setup, you're going to struggle in qualifying. You're going to be good in qualifying, but you're going to struggle in the race in the wet conditions because you're not going to have the downforce. So it's a tricky one for the drivers to figure out because they still want to be quick enough in the qualifying session to get themselves far enough up the grid. I am tripping over my tongue tonight. It's ridiculous. Because obviously they don't want to be in that midfield scrap in amongst all the spray if it is a wet start. It's so hard to see in the wet at the best of times. So it's trying to find that balance. It's so tricky to do.
Absolutely. We're riding on board with Warren right now. I thought, let's let Andy seamlessly transitioned into his hot lap, but not this time for the McLaren. What would you say about Warren's season so far then? It's been pretty mixed, I would have to say. Well, what about you, Andy?
Yeah, no, it definitely has been a mixed season. He'll even admit himself that he gets a bit of stick from some of the boys for being a bit of a bottle job, unfortunately. We know he's got the pace. We do know he's got the pace. He's been a bit up and down. I mean, if I look through his standing, his stats, didn't start the first two races, DNF the first two races, then didn't start Monaco. Got second place in France, fourth in Britain, fifth in Hungary, fifth in Italy, 10th in Russia, because remember, got caught out and lost his front wing and then made a late pit stop. And he did not start last week out in Mexico because I believe he was stuck at a school play that was to do with his sister. And he couldn't get away from it, so just stuck there, just watching absolute terrible nonsense on a Thursday night. I can think of nothing worse.
Maybe watching us, Andy.
Oh no, we're the entertainment on a Thursday night. That's why everybody comes here, surely.
Oh, I do apologise.
Come on.
Well, I have to say, there has been a name change, I have to say. Regular George now in the...
That's not a name change.
It's not
That's a new driver.
No.
Gypsy George is still there. If I am correct, Regular George is Gypsy George's son, possibly. I don't know if it's actually true.
Oh, we've got a rumour fest going along here.
I can't remember because I don't keep it up in the chat and whether they were actually being serious or not. It was mentioned in our league chat that he was.
Oh, you're right. They are both there. Well,
yeah.
Well,
Someone will surely tell us if it is definitely true, because I've seen it, I want to believe it's true, but at the same time, I've been gullible before, so...
It does sound too good to be true, doesn't it? I think we should probably go on to someone for their hot lap, Andy. I have to say, we've been putting it off for some time. Brazil's such a short track that by the time we found someone, the lap's already over.
Yeah, let's have a look. Who's coming towards the line? Have you found somebody? Charlie? Where's Charlie boy? That'll do then. Let's jump on board with the Alpha, shall we?
Indeed. Well, for the final time this season, Mr. Andy, take it away.
For the final time, possibly for a while, in TTL, remember as well. But anyway, across the start and finish line, heading up towards turn number 1, DRS wide open, braking about 80 metres for the Senna S, down to second gear, keep it to the left hand side, cut the curb as much as you dare onto the right, and then through the curve of the Sol, down the back straight, DRS open, wide one more time as we head down towards turn number 4, the Decido del Lago, down to fourth gear, 100, just under 100 miles an hour, and losing the curb on the exit through turn 5, rising up the hill to the double right, the first part Ferradura, the horseshoe, down to 5th gear. The second part is La Regina, the little orange it's known as, and then down to one of the slowest corners of the track, turn 8, into turn 9, which is Pinarina, the little pine tree. It's a very tricky corner, it's cambered, and up towards the Bico de Pato, the duckbill corner, and again this is another cambered corner. It drops in and then drops up again on the way out. Down through Megulo, the dive, as we head up towards Juncao, the junction, as we take the long run up the hill towards the start and finish line. One of the longest full throttle points on the calendar between Juncal and up towards the Senais. Charlie comes across the line in the Alfa Romeo. What's the lap time going to be? It's a 1 minute 9.7, pops him up into 6th position. And if there's anyone who is Portuguese and watching and I butchered any of those names, I do apologise.
I still have my one attempt at that corner name intact. It will be.
I really want to know what corner it is now.
Well, I have to say, at the moment, 2 Toro Rossos top of the table, and that might change when we get to the 2020 game. They might not actually be called Toro Rossos anymore, but hey.
No, they won't be.
But hey, we're all part of the journey right now. But meanwhile, the Toro Rossos top of the table, the 2 Germans top of the table. Lighty on a 108.7, Tron on a 108.8. Now remember, they're both on soft tyres, and Recon is on the medium tyres. He's set a 108.9.
It's just, yeah, it's like incredible to see the difference. I'm surprised there's people out there on the medium and the hard compound tyre. Makes me wonder, are they expecting it to be a bit drier at the start and then get wet as the race goes on? Because you would normally imagine if it's a wet start that everyone will just put the soft tyres on and just go for it in qualifying, you know. You're not going to be starting on those tyres. You might as well go gung-ho, guns a-blazing into it. But maybe, because we get told in the chat, it says wet race. Whether that means, as we say, it's going to be wet at the start the whole way through or not, we don't know that. We need to just play that one by ear. But looking good for the Toro Rossos. I mean, Lighty and Tro, they've had some decent results this season as well. They've been really enjoyed their partnership again, the 2 Germans. And if I look through, whenever they've finished, they've always finished in the points. Best result for Tro was P3, that was all the way back in Baku. He's had a number of 4th places, including last week in Mexico. Lighty's best result was a 4th place, which was also at Baku, but he has had 2 DNFs to his name as well. So it's been a pretty good season for the Toro Rosso team, and I'm sure those 2 will be wanting to stay together next season as well.
Wanting to stay together, but will they be staying together? That's the whole point. Of course, car announcements will be at some point next week, Andy. The first one went down so well. I don't know what the format's going to be next time around, but whatever it is, let's hope the drivers are happy with the teams choosing whoever they want. Remember, in TTL F1, it is the teams that choose the drivers, not the drivers that choose the teams. I think that's F2. We're talking about F2 there. A driver can just walk into a team, Andy, and say, I want to drive for you. The team will say, yeah, sure. No, with the teams here, you have to impress them.
Exactly. I mean, why do you think I managed to get a drive in F2 for crying out loud?
I didn't even get a drive in F2, Andy, so...
That's because you didn't apply, didn't you? You thought about it.
Shush, dramatic effect for the joke, Andy.
I always ruin things, you should know that by now, come on.
Well, meanwhile, Recon is on a soft tyre run, all the way up to maximum as he makes his way through towards the lap here. But I think coming up the hill now towards the duckbill corner, I'm not even going to attempt the Portuguese version of that
the
one.
Bico de Pato.
There you go. There's your native Portuguese speaker there as we head now towards the last braking zone here on the lap. It's so easy to call that the last corner, but it isn't, because here, the long left-hander here, full throttle through here is actually the last corner, and then you've got one more here actually, as we now make our way towards the start-finish line. Recon there getting very close to the wall on the left-hand side, a 108.3, which would have put him onto the front row of the grid, but invalidating his lap time, have to go again. Yeah,
it's very easy to invalidate in certain parts. Turn 8, which is the corner at the top of the hill, just after you come over Ferradura and La Regina, probably the slowest corner on the track. It's very easy to take a lot of curb on the inside and just end up with a corner cut for that. The same at the Bico de Pato as well. It's very easy to just use that curbing too much. Again, at the bottom of the Senna S as well, just too much curbing can easily invalidate. Those are your 3 big areas that you are likely to pick up a warning round here. There is others, of course, as well. If you do run a bit wide, out of turn 4 at the Decido del Lago, it is possible to pick up a warning there. But the turn 8, 10 and 2 are probably your 3 biggest points on the track that you can pick up a warning around this Interlagos circuit. But I'll say one thing, I know we're joking about pronunciation of the corner names, but is it not nice to just have a track that's actually got corner names rather than just turn 1, 2, 3 and 4?
It is, yes. Unfortunately, though, I'll be calling them turns 1, 2, 3 and 4. Unfortunately. However, news coming in, a good run on board with Spike here. The controls here look very, very smooth, which can, to me, only mean one thing. Is Spike on a wheel?
Yeah, Maze is thinking that as well. Let's have a wee check on board. Either that, he's just got really good.
That's not a controller. That's not a controller analog stick right there. Let's have a look as he heads towards the long right-hander. No, that's too smooth to be a controller. Definitely too smooth.
So, has the last of the, as they say, the last of the Mohicans, has the last of the pad runners fallen then?
Well, I mean, maybe in his own words. Let's have a look as he makes his way through turn 10, down the hill through turn 11. 6 minutes and 43 seconds to go with Warren on top. And he has backed out. He sees the Toro Rosso behind him as well, so he gets right out of the way. Now, which Toro Rosso is that? It was Straw there, making his way now up the hill through the left-handers. Currently on a hot lap, it seems, as he now makes his way towards the start finish line, trying to make the shortest run possible and the straightest line possible towards the line, and Shaw now jumps his teammate with a 108.488. That puts him onto the front row of the grid in second place.
So yeah, decent lap time there for Shaw. Obviously, D Warren's managed to get himself onto pole position. You might have heard me there just going, ooh, Gypsy George is, I don't know what's happened, because it kind of lagged him back onto the track, but he's definitely had a moment, because I do believe that he's missing the entirety of his front wing as he tries to get back to pit lane, so something's going on there.
Yeah, for a high aero track, the last thing you want is the front wing to be, completely missing, as he now runs wide on the exit of turn 6 there. He's just got to get well out of the way of Spike there as he makes his way towards turn 8. Very close for comfort there, but I think he just about did enough. I think Spike will be a little bit aggrieved, but he's on the hard tyres right now. I don't think he'll be too worried about that one, so he now makes his way through turn 10, onwards then towards turn 11 and turn 12 as we make our way towards the third sector, just at the 100-metre board. 4 tenths up for Spike then, and that will get him into the, losing that back end there. Recon's left the session as well, so qualifying is all a go here with just over 5 minutes to go, and Spike there for what could have been a lap time into the 110s on the hard tyres. He will have to settle for a 111.1, which is still an improvement for him, but he knows he'll be frustrated out of that final braking zone, out of turn number 12, to have lost the back end like that.
Yeah, definitely so. I was just thinking about it there as well, just looking through the standings actually, as Recon's managed to kick his internet back into life one more time again. For the constructors battle between Red Bull and Mercedes, it's 1v1. We've only got one Red Bull and one Mercedes, Spike and the Gort. There's no Jack, there is no season 15 champion. He's decided, for whatever reason, he's not going to be here tonight, and Lyronix is, well, I believe Lyronix has actually left the league now altogether, looking for some new challenges, I think it was. So we've only got one of each tonight, so no advantage for either team in having 2 cars over one, because that's what I was expecting to happen. I was thinking Jack would be here along with the Gort, giving Red Bull a 2-to-1 advantage over Mercedes, but nope, it's just one each, Spike and the Gort, and we'll need to keep an eye on that later on and see who comes out on top and takes that championship, because that's what's left to decide, along with who takes flights to second place and further down as well.
And of course it is advantage Red Bull, as the Gort here is trying to now make his way through. They are 16 points the better off at this moment in time, and if there's only one driver per team, Spike has got to get a move on with these lap times. He's currently still out there on a hard set of tyres, and I think this is going to be his in-lap to get onto a better set of tyres. But which tyres does he choose? Just 3 minutes and 20 seconds of the session to go. Warren starts a brand new flying lap in through turn 1, already losing the back end there, and through turn 2 as well. Pushed the boundaries there and almost paid the price. but he gathers the car back up. Well, at least he didn't take too much life out of the tyres before he lost back end like that. It was literally at turn 1, so he's got time here to try and get the tyres back into life, back into shape, and have another go. He's got time for it.
Yeah, he's definitely got time. It's certainly not a place you want to have the rear end trying to step out on you, that's for sure. The walls in certain places here are pretty close by in comparison to other tracks and to other places. Spikes carrying on for another lap on those hard compound tyres, so he's not going to be able to do another lap on a different set now, because he's maybe decided and realised by the time I get in, change tyres, get back out, I'm done. So he's just going to go around and see how quick he can go in the hard compound tyres. Maybe he's just enjoying a bit of fun. Maybe if he is transitioning onto the wheel, maybe he's decided to use this as a bit of a practice because of the points gap between Mercedes and Red Bull in the constructors. Maybe he thinks it's a bit too tall of an order, maybe. Who knows? But 2 minutes to go. Yeah, he had a big moment through La Reina.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, big moment out of turn 9 onwards towards... oh, sorry, that was turn 8. My apologies there. As he now makes his way towards turn 10 and making his way towards turn 11. So that might be... Well, he'll get another lap for sure. And
he's got half his battery to do it, so he's still possible. I mean, round here as well, you can... Oh, round he goes. Well, that'll warm the tyres up a bit too much. The thing is, round here, obviously, when it comes to the battery management, it's not so bad because it's such a short track. There is some heavy braking zones to regenerate, so you can get away with running quite a high battery charge through a qualifying lap and through then a second lap as well normally, just because you do have the braking zones to regenerate the energy through the recovery systems. So he has got the chance there, but he's going to need to get a budge on. He's going to have one more lap, and if he wants to get out of that 13th place that he's in at the moment. Under a minute to go here at Interlagos. Troll is in second with Lighty third. It's still D Warren though at the top of the leaderboard, as Sean's had enough of the session, so no better than 7th for him. Graham's retired, as has regular George and Mays. Mays not set a lap time, so 4 drivers already out of the session, and we have 2 drivers in the pits, including Spike, so he's had enough as well. Charlie's in the pits. Everyone else is still on track in these final seconds.
Here comes Troll then towards the final breaking point through turn 12 and then up the hill. The sun in his eyes there. Full throttle now through 13, through 40 and through turn number 15, trying to get as straight a line as possible towards the checkered flag here. Well, it's not out yet though, but 700ths up for Troll, a 108.416 for the Toro Rosso driver, and that will be his qualifying session done and dusted. Lighty pulls off to the side. That's his session done then, so he will not be able to set a quicker lap time. So that means then Warren out on a flying lap. We've also got to watch out for the Gore, Recon and Navy. All of them still have a chance here of grabbing pole position, but Warren 2/10 up through the second sector. This could be a 107 on his hands here. Full throttle now through the left-handers of turn 14, onwards towards turn 15. DRS wide open as he now makes his way to the checkered flag. The McLaren driver gets a 107, 107.8 for Warren there. What about the Gort?
Here comes Recon though. Recon's coming to the line. He's 9/10 up on his lap time as he heads for the line, and it's P2. He can't quite get into pole position. A 10th down. The Gort was down on his time, so he didn't improve, and that is it for qualifying. So Warren, with that last gasp lap, does just enough to keep the Ferrari behind him. So it's Warren from Recon, Troll and the Gort are your top 4 with Lighty in 5th. We'll go through the standings in full in just a moment's time, but good lap time from Warren there. He did put in the chat earlier, last corner bottle job. Well, he got it right this time.
He absolutely did, and takes pole position here at the Brazilian Grand Prix. Well, let's take you through the qualifying standards then. So it is Warren on top, with Recon in second place, Troy in third with the Gort in fourth, Lighty fifth with Navy in sixth, Conti in seventh with Sean in eighth, Henny in ninth, and Charlie rounds out the top 10. It's Graham in 11th, regular George 12th, Spike in 13th, George 14th, and Mays didn't set a time in that qualifying session. Now, if the weather holds up and it's dry, then out of the top 10, it's only Sean starting on a set of the medium tyres. So let's see how that pans out. I just want to see about Warren here in the McLaren. That was his, I believe, third pole position of the season, if I've got my stats right. Yes, it was third pole position of the season for Warren then. So we can tell he's a fast driver, Andy. He can put one lap together, but that just seems like that first wind eluded him. Well, it is raining here, so there goes my theory about dry tyre start. But back to Warren, you know, the closest he's come, and he is a second place at the French Grand Prix. I mean, when is it going to click for Warren? It's my simple question to you.
Yeah, because I mean, you remember last season when he joined, he nearly won first time out in Austria last season as well. He had a nice run of podiums in his first couple of races, and then the consistency just sort of dropped off a little bit for him. He started making mistakes. He started getting frustrated. Troz left the session. That's not good in between the two sessions. So hopefully he can get back in.
Well, he's got to get back in. He's got to get back in whilst we're not on the formation lap. If he doesn't join when we're on the formation,
to get back in now.
He really needs to get him back in now. Hopefully he will be able to. I think 3 drivers there are holding off so that he can try and join back. But if we don't see that pop up, I don't think he's going to make it. I don't think he is. No,
there's a gap on the grip. Oh,
so that's it for Troll. That will go down as a DNS for Troll. Nothing really he could do about that. But one Toro Rosso down already. So that means that's Lighty moves up to 4th place. Navy will move up to 5th with Conti in 6th. Sean 7th. Henny 8th. Charlie 9th. With Graham rounding out the top 10. I would say, anyone outside of the top 10 has free choice of tyres. Well, that's completely bogus because everyone has a free choice of tyre as long as it's in the intermediate tyres, I would say.
Yes, as long as it's a wet weather compound, then that's fine. Intermediate's obviously the choice of the day. The standings are green with the intermediates, and that obviously does make it a little bit of a different race as well. We know some drivers will revel in the rain. We know some drivers, well, they don't like the wet weather conditions. So this is a chance for those who are quite good in the rain to be able to get involved. Tro has got back into the session. I'm hoping, I'm praying that Toro Rosso is sitting on the grid. But I think it's a bit too late, unfortunately.
I think it is. If the car's not there at the start of the formation lap, it's very, very unlikely that he's going to be able to take the start. I think that's going to be a DNS because if you look at it, you know, the standings already say there's only 14 runners. So it won't be adding anyone back in, that's my thought. But we've got 36 laps here at Interlagos. Well, whenever it rains around turn 3, there seems to be some sort of lake. Well, Interlagos means between 2 lakes, so that's not really surprising here. As we make our way towards the starting grid, Warren will be leading them towards turn 1. And to be honest with you, we haven't had many wet weather starts this season, if at all. And this will be a huge challenge for the drivers then. The clutch biting point will be even more crucial as Warren lines himself up onto that first row of the grid for the 3rd time this season. 3rd pole position for Warren in the McLaren as the rest of the cars form up onto the grid. Here we are then for the 10th round and the final round of TTL F1. We're waiting now for the lights to signal the start of the race, and here we are. It is 5 red lights. We're underway, and what are the starts like? It's very sluggish starts here, but I think everybody's got away cleanly as Recon then moves his way up into the lead of the race. The Dutchman has a fantastic start in the Ferrari and jumps Warren into the lead of the race. Careful of Navy there, trying to move up the inside of court there. Charlie's in a little bit of trouble out through turn 1. He lost a bit of the back end, whether he was tapped or whether he just lost it completely. We'll have to come back to that one, but Recon then out of the Center S leads here in Brazil with Warren in second. Look at the Gort then, having to try and fight off Navy here as we make our way now up the hill. It narrows here to the narrowest point on the track, heading up towards turn 6 here. The Renault's looking for an opportunity to try and get past that Red Bull here. In towards turn 8 we go, no way through for him. Charlie there now moving up to 13th as George moves down to 14th. And you can see that the lone Toro Rosso left now, Lighty, looking to put some pressure on the Ferrari of Sean. As you can see, the spray there, even in these intermediate conditions, can still put the drivers off here. They've got to be careful for these first couple of laps. Obviously, it doesn't take long for these intermediates to warm up, but whilst they're cold, they really do give you zero grip whatsoever as we make our way towards the end of the first lap. How about Navy heading his way out of turn 12? Got a really good exit. Here comes the slipstream then that he'll be able to have on the Red Bull of the Gort as we make our way towards the start finish line, still looking for that slipstream. Pulls to the left hand side now and up the inside we go down towards turn 1. The Renault driver has taken away that last podium place as we see George retire from the race altogether somewhere out in sector 3. And so at the end of the first lap then, Recon leads from Warren. It is Navy who's got himself up to 3rd with the Gort in 4th, Sean 5th, Lighty in 6th, Conti 7th, Graham 8th, Mays in 9th, Regular George is in 10th, Henny 11th, Charlie 12th and Spike in 13th place, the last of the runners right now.
Yeah, definitely. The bit with Charlie has wing damage. Him and Jeffrey Henney, they seem to just get stuck together, a bit of a lag bubble. And speaking of Jeffrey Henney, he seems to be off the track there, heading up towards Ferradura. Charlie's pitched him, a little bit of contact, pitched him round, and well, he's going to end up halfway down the hill now. So it looked like they just got lagged together on lap 1. Unfortunately, it caused Charlie some damage. Don't know what happened to Gypsy George. Spike had made up a number of places, but he dropped down at the end of the lap, so I think he spun in the final corner. Mays from the back of the grid is already up 6 places on the opening lap. Navy and Sean are up 3 places each as well. Biggest losers are Jeffrey Henney and Charlie, having got stuck together like glue. Regular George is off the track out to
Warren's in trouble. Warren's in trouble.
Cow.
Yeah, somewhere out in that final sector, Warren's lost a bit of front wing. Now, whether that was a Max Verstappen-esque mistake, but unlike Max Verstappen, didn't keep it out of the wall. They've got the front wing ready here as he comes into the pit lane. That is going to be a disaster for Warren here because, well, you can't make a one-stop last round here, especially if you pit on lap number 2. He's going to be really, really aggrieved to try and make those tyres last. I mean, it's not impossible, but the tyre wear here starts off, it's okay, but as you go further and further into the race, the undulations start to take the effect, and the abrasion gets worse and worse as the race goes on. But let's see how it goes then. He'll have to recover from that one very, very quickly. From pole now to last of the runners, down in 13th place. It's a shame to see Warren, but now he's got a chance to try and put in some masterclass moves and just try and leave that behind him. I wonder, Andy, if it's at all going to stop raining during this race, or if it's going to swing the other way. Maybe it might get heavier during the race.
You can never tell. We just need to keep an eye on things and see how it goes. And usually a good indicator is when the first person decides to pit to either go for wet weather, you know, full wets, or for dries is the best thing to keep an eye on. What the situation with Warren's done is it's released Recon 2.3 seconds up the road. It's a Dutch 1-2 with Navy in second. Now Recon will be praying, begging with as many fingers and toes crossed as possible that his internet doesn't give up on him again. So he's had many issues with that this season, and he will hope that doesn't happen here while he leads this race. Navy is closing up to him though. The Gort does seem to be struggling a little bit in these conditions at the moment because he's got Sean all over the back of him and he cannot pull away from that Ferrari. We've got Spike out of the race. He's crashed coming out of the curve of the Sol, so he's obviously got on the curb or on the power, and he's off to the right hand side, so that car's had a heck of a ride, and that's Spike out of the race. And where do we go? What was I just talking about? I've obviously jinxed the Dutchman. Recon's left the session again. Unbelievable. It's not the first time that's happened this season either. Incredible stuff. Mays has just moved ahead of Graham, so he's now up to 7th from the back of the grid, up 8 places already, and we're already 2 drivers down. Charlie in the pits as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're only 4 laps in, but Recon has managed to join back, but his lead against Navy has been scythed there, and it might actually go completely down the start-finish straight. Now, when you're ghosting like this, top speed isn't a problem. The speed down the straight isn't a problem. It's the corners that get you. It's the braking zones that get you. That's where so many people will try and find that time. Navy here sweeps past a disconnected Recon there and moves now into the lead of the race. And there is Recon.
And then Recon comes back.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he would have seen that. Because, of course, when you rejoin a session like that, you get the 5 red lights to tell you that you're going to be rejoining, and at the end of those, you are obviously reset into the car. So he must have seen the very end of that move there. That must be gut-wrenching for Recon to lose the lead like that. But there's still plenty of the race to go, and he's still only 6 tenths behind. Don't count anything out just yet.
No, it's still plenty to go, so at least it's not cost him a huge amount of time, but it's certainly something he could have done without. Nice wee battle developing the Gort. He's got Sean obviously close behind. Light, he's not too far away as well. Conti, who we've not spoken about, he's 5 seconds off, but he's starting to slowly close that gap. Yellow flag in Sector 2's disappeared, so don't know what that was. But the two in the front have disappeared up the road. They're nearly 4.5 seconds clear of anyone else now. Then you've got that battle for third, which is turning into a three-way scrap before we come up to anybody else. Those three, third, fourth and fifth, the Gort, Sean and Lighty, are the three the closest on the track, along with Recon and Navy. So a battle of the Dutchies out front, and then a three-way scrap for third just behind them. This is looking good in the early stages, but we've got still 30 odd laps, just over 30 laps to go.
Absolutely, and of course with Spike's retirement, that wraps up the Constructors' Championship. So a big congratulations to Red Bull. They are the Constructors' Champion for season number 15. There's no way they can be caught anymore, as Recon here is now trying to close in on maybe ahead of him. Now Ferrari have a chance here of finishing third place. I don't know if they've secured it or not. Having a look at the standings here, Ferrari before this race started 156. Toro Rosso behind them 127, so in theory they can still be caught by the two Toro Rossos, but with one of them not starting the race and Lighty behind both Ferraris, it's going to be a mighty tall order for Toro Rosso to try and overtake them there.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, what is that point gap? Ooh,
that's
he's
turn
off.
10. Yeah, he's off at turn 10. Almost like he's trying to rise over the hill there, very bumpy on the grass. Hopefully he's not trying to do a Kimi Raikkonen a la 2012. Hopefully he can find his way back to the track, but he seems to just be waiting for a gap, and that's the most painful part. Now he's got a big gap here for Warren.
Something's wrong, because there's a... What's going on? That's very strange, because I see the regular George did that as well. He went off track and he waited until about 5 cars had gone past him before rejoining. Now the Gort's back on the track. He's picked up a 10-second penalty for quote-unquote corner cutting, which is just ridiculous when you've lost all those places, but that's a very strange one. He's now running around at half throttle. I wonder if he's had maybe an issue with his wheel or with the pedals or something, because that's not normal.
It's definitely not normal now. Yeah, as you see, the green meter there never reaches full. Now it reaches full throttle. I think this might be the Gort retiring with technical issues to his wheel. We'll have to wait and see. Yes, it is. So that is a retirement out of the race. So yeah, that's not normal for the Gort. Obviously, he's a much better driver than what we just saw there. That is definitely technical related. That's unfortunate for the Gort then. He has to end his season like that. But he does end his season, though, as a Constructors' Champion. So he'll take this result, I'm sure, with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, definitely so. It means he obviously is the Constructors' Champion, along with Jack, which means Jack's now a 5-time Constructors' Champion, if my maths is right. Indeed he is. And I believe for the Gort, that is him first time getting onto the honours list as well now, so either way it still ended up being a good night for him. I want to check that point situation with Ferrari and Toro Rosso, because what was the gap?
So we've got Ferrari on 156 and we've got Toro Rosso on 127.
That's not enough, because there's only one Toro Rosso. The most light he can get is 26 points of victory in a fastest lap. That's still not enough. That's a 29-point gap. So Ferrari are guaranteed third place. They could technically catch Mercedes if they get both cars to the finish in good position in second and third. Could possibly do that. I'll need to do the sums on that one. So give me a minute, I'll be back.
Well, that's Mercedes on 185, Ferrari on 156. That's again 29-point gap between the two constructors there. So that is, yes, entirely possible. Recon here is trying to make some inroads to try and catch them here. So we've got Recon at the moment on 18 points, Sean at the moment on 15 points.
That's enough to pass by if they finish there.
So this is where they'll be aiming for then, as we see Recon here won't be happy with just second place as he sets the fastest lap of the race of 119.3, heading through turn 1, tiptoeing through turn 2 as we make our way through turn 3, all about keeping that back end in check, all about keeping the car happy as we make our way down towards turn 4, not pushing it too much that it just spins the rear end on you. I've had that plenty and plenty of times in practice. Luckily for me though, I get a flashback button. These guys don't.
I try not to use that flashback button. I usually just hit restart, to be honest, but you can't do that in an online session when you're league racing, that's for sure, because if you could have, I would have done that on Monday night after I crashed out and ended up to the moon in Project Cars.
Yes.
Did you see that?
I didn't. I had to see it after the stream, but it's what gave me a freak podium. I didn't deserve it, and I got it.
But yeah, Recon and Navy are the closest on the track. Everyone else is kind of spread out a wee bit. The next nearest gap is Jeffrey Henney, 1.2, 1.3 behind his teammate Graham, the racing points in 7th and 8th. Now obviously the 3 retirements and obviously Tro's technical issues meaning that he did not start, so 4 of the 15 drivers out means that anybody finishing and doing what I've always said, get to the end of the race, has got a very, very good chance of points now. At the moment, only one driver, if all 11 that are currently on track finish the race, will not pick up any points here today. So there's a good chance to pick up a good handful of points here in the season finale. It could make all the difference when it comes to the standings at the end of the year, and that could make all the difference if the drivers are staying on for next season and if what team they get picked into as well. So there's a very good chance here for some drivers that could set them up for season 16 to be in a very good seat.
Yeah, absolutely could. I mean, one of them would be Charlie here. He's got a chance to equal Conti, but at the moment Conti there is in 5th place in the race so far. He did join quite a way in. The last time Charlie scored points this season was at Monaco. That was at the 3rd round of this season. He'll be wanting to try and end it with a point or two as we head towards the twilight of this season. And it's been a season that's taught us a lot, Andy. As maybe some drivers are leaving and some drivers have left us, there's still now this new generation coming through, especially of the Dutch background. Navy and Recon should be giving us plenty of battles throughout these seasons. As here comes Recon then, heading down towards turn 1, another fast slap from the Ferrari driver. He looks around the outside at turn 1, it'll give him the inside for turn 2, but he runs off understeering there with the water on the track, has to back out of it completely, and unfortunately for him, he just didn't have the grip to go around the outside, just carried a little bit too much speed, and that just sent him straight on at turn 2. So he has to give that one up, and Navy holds on there. Just knew there that maybe just by grabbing the racing line, just by grabbing the inside line with less surface water to clear, he's able to keep that position. And look how much time it's cost Recon as well, 1.8 seconds now. But Recon with 2 fastest laps in a row, I'm sure he'll be trying to push that gap down. Also Warren as well, part of this new generation coming through, now trying to find his way up to 8th place after an incident earlier on in this race, looking down the inside of the racing point in towards turn 4. Nice easy move for the McLaren driver. Now he's got another racing point up ahead as the sun is starting to try and poke through the clouds as Warren makes his way through turn 6, and Henny's not going to give up on that position. He's just going to try and pressure the McLaren as much as possible there as Graham runs a little deep there into turn 8. Now going through turn 9, you see Warren there just having to be a little bit patient, finding the right lines as we head now up towards turn 10. Will he try and send it here? No, he won't. He backs out of that one. Just waiting for that ample opportunity to make the move stick. Then through turn 11, gets a face full of spray there through the left-hander on towards the last breaking point of Yun Sao, and that's the only pronunciation you'll ever hear. Graham running a little bit deep on entry, trying to prioritise his exit. Warren, can he get the better exit? Going through the left-hander, very tight there as the sun is starting to try and poke through. The clouds are breaking up. Warren still in that slipstream of the racing point. Graham has put up a great battle here up towards turn 1. Warren up the inside he goes. Can he try and hold on to that position? Yes, he can. The McLaren driver moves up to 7th place and starting his recovery drive on the right foot. And maybe even the left one as well. Graham just a little bit sideways out of turn 3 on the way towards turn 4. And that now opens up a little bit of a battle here between the Racing Point cars.
Yeah, 2 Racing Points cars getting involved, but Henry's bumped his way up the inside there. I don't think Graham's seen him coming. Henry got a much better exit out of the Decido del Lago there and up the inside. So Graham losing two positions there, and at least they're still running, and they didn't do an Esteban Ocon and a Sergio Perez, where the team leaders were basically pulling their hair out every other week. Warren making his way back through the field after that early pit stop. He's not too far off the back of Mays. Recon's struggling now. He's lapping 2.5 seconds slower than his fastest lap. The gap's built up to 4.7 and growing. It's up to 5 now. I don't know if something's gone wrong here, if that late braking's just taking the confidence out of him, or if he's just decided to drop into an easier groove now to try and make these tyres last as long as possible. But he is losing an awful lot of time at the moment as Warren's about to go round the outside of Mays into turn 1. He has the move done into the braking zone. I don't think Mays fought that one too hard. He's very clever at that one there. He knows who he's fighting against. He knows that Warren's got a bit quicker pace than him here, so lets the McLaren go so he doesn't hinder his own race. So puts Mays to 7th, but he's still up 8 places from starting down at the back of the field. So it's still a fantastic effort from the Renault driver, but his teammate Navy is in the lead, up 5 places, having started in 6th, and he's 6.3 and Gay further clear a Recons. He's starting to pull away, but is he burning those intermediate tyres out and doing so? That's something we'll just need to wait and see.
And we will have to wait and see, as I'm trying to look at the standings here throughout the season. Sean here hasn't finished on the podium all season. The best result he's had so far was 5th place at the Mexican Grand Prix last time out. Currently now running in 3rd place. Is this his moment to try and grab what would be a long overdue podium? I remember, Andy, we were saying when he was driving for Haas, you know, podiums were every other race for him in the Haas, maybe even that, and it's been such a long time since he's had even a sniff of that champagne on any step of the podium.
Absolutely, and it would certainly be deserved. I mean, his driving in terms of his consistency and racecraft has further improved as the months have gone on with the new iteration of the F1 game, and although it's not translated into podiums, it's certainly been very consistent. And it's just, obviously there's a lot of other drivers in here. We've got that new generation, as you mentioned. I mean, if we use Warren for example, he's still at school, I do believe, for example. A lot of youngsters kicking about who are extremely fast and just coming through. But Sean, I would love to see Sean on the podium. I've got a lot of time for him, and you know, I think he's had a solid season. It would be lovely to see him cap it off with a podium, but he's still got a long way to go at the moment. Light 3 seconds back is still just about within sniffing distance at the moment. You can probably still smell that Shell Premium in the distance, but he's starting to pull away as the Ferrari. Can he keep it on the track? I'd love to see it though, I really would. I think he deserves it.
Warren here is now trying to close in on his teammate. I wonder if there's going to be team orders here. Conti is in no position, doesn't have to let Warren through, but I wonder if there is going to be team orders here as we make our way towards the start finish line and towards turn 1. This could be Dante moving to the side as we head towards turn 4 here, in towards the centre S, and actually he gets out of the way much earlier into turn 1, so that is now Warren up to 5th place, Conti now down to 6th. I wonder if Warren has to stop again for a new set of intermediates, as Charlie now picks himself up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. One can only assume that is for track limits.
Yeah, it will be, and the thing is, I would imagine Warren will need to pit again. If he can get a set of intermediates, if it stays like this to the end of the race, if he can make them do 33 laps, that'll be an absolute miracle, in my opinion. As far as I would say, if it stays like this, everybody will have to pit at least once. I don't see the intermediates lasting a full race distance of 50%. It's just something you don't see. They do wear out. As we mentioned, there's the ups and downs, there's the hill climbs, there's the drops down like Semagula where Warren is at the moment, and he's taking a bit of extra curb there. That won't have helped his tyre wear, drifting downhill. But those up and downhill sections, you know, they can affect the braking, they can affect the acceleration as well. That obviously then going to have an effect on the tyre wear. If you're running no ABS, for example, you snatch a brake downhill because gravity's pushing you forward. If you're going up the hill and you get on the throttle a bit too early because you're going up the hill and the car just squirms a little bit, you're just using the rears up as well. So it's definitely a tricky one, and I would be very surprised if anyone makes it through the race without any more pit stops. I expect to see everybody in before the end of the race. I know Charlie's pitted and Warren's pitted after the early laps, but I would imagine they would still need to pit again because of how early they came into the pits. Jeffrey Henney down in 8th. He's managed to dispatch his teammate a little bit robustly. A few laps back, he's managed to dispatch him and leave him behind, and he's now onto the back of Mays, coming up towards Ferradura. This is not an overtaking position, that is for sure. And one thing as well to take into consideration with Ferradura, on the old track, that was a downhill corner. You went the opposite way down that part of the track on the old, longer layout back in the 70s, and can you imagine what it would be like going downhill in a 1970s F1 car with that?
No. This is my short answer. Short and simple.
There's a reason that there's a reason that Larahina, the Little Orange, was known as being a real man's corner.
Well, Eddie here is really closed up to the back of Mays. It's all about getting turn 12. And the exit absolutely spot on. You can see that the sun is trying to poke through, but the rain is still at the same consistency. Henny here looking for a way past. Of course, no DRS in these wet weather conditions. That is all raw pace. As Henny now moves up to 7th place. And again, I don't think Mays fought that one too hard. We got yellow flags out in sector
Regular
3.
George.
It is regular
He's
George.
in the middle of the grass at Juncal.
So that is that would just be loss of the back end, I would say.
Yeah.
What's happened there, and he lights up the rear tyres as he gets underway again. Not entirely advised, especially with so much water out on the track. However, drive as you please, George, I would say. Meanwhile, Mays is trying to get back there, and regular George is now retired from the session altogether. So that would be his day done, and I don't know, that's not the right move. There was chance of points there. Now Charlie's now into the top 10, so this could be his first point scoring finish since Monaco this season. And to be honest with you, how Charlie has progressed this season, you know, I think, Andy, he's getting better and better with every race that passes. I remember, I keep bringing this up only because it shows the progress that he's made. In season 14, he had 0 points next to his name after those 11 rounds. After 9 rounds in season number 15, he's got himself 3 points.
Yeah, he's certainly been improving. He's definitely got better as time is going along. He's finding a bit more consistency, and he's picking up those points as well. Like, he's just came into the pits fresh set of intermediates, so he's the first to pit Mays in as well. But Charlie is getting there. He's starting to find his feet more and more as time goes by. He's in the Project Cars 2 league that we've been running as well. Changes coming to that. I'm sure you've possibly heard of them if you've been watching the streams on Monday. If not, tune in on Monday, you'll hear all about it. And he's had some really good pace in those races as well, so he's really starting to find his racecraft, and if he can finish the race, he's going to pick up at least 1 more point, which will certainly be very welcome indeed for him. He's just going through the Senna S just now as Mays comes out of pit lane, having made his pit stop, and Navy decides to come into the pits now. So Renault get rid of one car, and now the race leader's in the following lap.
Absolutely. Let's see what tyres go on. I'm assuming it's still going to be intermediates, nowhere near ready for dry tyres. But there you can see the team weren't quite ready. That's what happens when you pit on a very similar lap to your teammate. The team just don't quite get prepared. But as you saw there, down the middle of the tyre, it was almost becoming slick there on that Renault. I don't know if you caught that on the stream, but that's how much the tyres are wearing out here, that they're actually becoming slick here, Andy. Meanwhile, Lighty is closing into the back of Conti. I think Conti's coming into pits, which he is. So that's going to be Lighty gets a couple of positions. And this is where the undercut really, really benefits you. This is a part and a scenario where you want the undercut. The pit lane has very, very...
Oh my! Graham's just stuffed it in pit lane. He came in far too fast. The car snapped straight into the wall. Graham out of the race. He's crashed in pit lane.
Let's see if I can see on 4. You didn't catch that in the stream whatsoever. And of course, if you crash in the pit lane, then your car normally gets reset out onto the main part of the circuit. But that's Graham then who's out of the race. I mean, Racing Point were playing a double stack there. It wouldn't have worked whatsoever. So, well, I have to say then that is Graham out of the race. That's now Charlie up to 9th place. Meanwhile, Recon in the Ferrari into the pits. You can see there a little bit of a lock up there from Recon as he desperately tries to slow the car down. The Ferrari then comes into the pits, and on will go a fresh set of intermediate tyres. Away he goes. Now let's see where Navies, you can just see him there in your picture, making his way towards turn 1, refusing to take 8th gear as he makes his way towards turn 1. Can we see that Ferrari on the top of the picture? Yes, we can. There he is. Going through the pit lane, so Navy will take the lead then of the Brazilian Grand Prix with 17 laps to go. There is Recon then struggling for grip on that really difficult pit lane exit. It's difficult in the dry, let alone in these wet conditions, Andy, where it hardly ever gets used.
Yeah, definitely. So it's a very tricky pit lane, very long pit lane. Although the limiter comes off at the top before turn 1, technically, it's the exit to turn 3 before you're out of the pit lane area. And as you say, it doesn't get used as much because obviously you're only using it when you come out of the pits, and it is a lot slippier. And obviously there been no water has been really removed from there because of that. One thing in Recon's advantage though, even though he ran longer on that stint, 1 lap longer than Navy, he's actually gained about a second and a half or so from what the gap was, so he is a little bit closer to Navy than he was previously. So I do think, as I said earlier, maybe he was just backing off just to save a little bit of tyre life, just so he could then put that lap in just before the pit stop phase to get the gap down a little bit, and now he's going to concentrate on pushing forward Navy with a 19.0 on his first flying lap out off the pits. So we'll need to see what Recon does after his first lap out of pit lane. Warren's back into pit lane, and he picks up a speeding penalty to go with it, so that's a slap in the wrist and the 5 seconds added at the end of the race. I'm not surprised, as I say, it would have been a long shot to get to the end of the race on those tyres because he stopped on lap 3. Closest battle on the track's Jeffrey Henny and the now sole remaining racing point, right behind the McLaren of Conti as they come up towards the start and finish line one more time.
Sure, if you're enjoying this section and you want to see more of it, well, of course, we have the Classic Cup next week, so make sure you join us.
No, we don't. I've seen it in the chat. It was for next season Classic Cup by the looks of it. So next week's the driver announcement. How that's going to be working, we need to wait and see.
I'm pretty sure we might be involved, Andy. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, we'll need to see how it works out, because obviously for anyone who didn't catch it last week, I'm obviously not going to be here next season. So it could be you and James, because obviously you two will be the commentators next season. We'll need to wait and see though.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I'll be, oh god, I don't want to say a veteran, be entering my 10th season of TTL next season. Of course, not full season. I joined at round 7. I joined at round 7 at season 7, but back then we were running a full calendar of 21 races back then, so it was quite a way in. But I'll tell you what, I've enjoyed it so much that I'm sticking around. Yellow flags in sectors 1 and 2. Just trying to figure out who that could be. I think that was just Charlie.
Probably someone running wide. Yeah, I think so. Charlie getting out of the way of Recon, I think.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That's what's happened there. So that's the reason for the yellow flag. Of course, make sure you follow the league on Twitter. It's at TTL _F1. You can also follow me if you like. It's at KSMCGF1. And you can also follow Andy as well. It's Andy218. No, I've messed it up.
You've done that on purpose, and I know you have.
Well, go on then. Tell him your handle. Tell him the right one.
It's Andy81287.
Yeah, I was never getting that.
You can't pronounce certain corner names. You can't pronounce the Twitter handle. All hope is lost. The end is nigh.
I can't pronounce numbers. I can't add numbers. It's just, it's just a shame, really.
Look at that Recon though. Speaking of numbers, an 18.5. That is 2 and a bit, nearly 3 times quicker than Navy's fastest lap. That gap coming down lap by lap at the moment, but Recon does need to be careful. He doesn't take all the life out of those tyres too soon and leave himself with nothing when he catches up to the back of the Renault. But just now he is starting to fly along. He's enjoying the grip of those fresh tyres, and it'll be interesting to see how soon he starts to close back up. You can see the standings there. Navy in the lead. He's up 5 places from his starting position. Recon in second, which is where he started. Sean up 5 places as well in third, with Lighty in fourth, up 1. D Warren in 5th, he's down 4 places, having started on pole position. He had an issue in the opening laps which required him to pit for a new wing. Conti in 6th, which is up 1 place. Jeffrey Henney's up 2 in 7th, Mace from the back of the grid in 8th, up 7 places, your biggest gainer, and Charlie up 1 place in 9th. Graham retired, having crashed in pit lane. Regular George a few
this
spins
contact!
off.
Contact at turn 4. Henny runs into the back of Conti there, and that has sent both cars around. Conti gets away then, as Mays will move up a position. Not quite sure what exactly happened there. All I saw on the stream was that Henny went into the back of Conti. Both cars spun around. Henny has front wing damage, and so we are expecting the racing point to come back to the pit lane then with 13 laps to go. Conti didn't lose any positions, but he's lost a lot of time, and now Mays is only 1.7 behind the McLaren.
Yeah, just ran that back on the stream myself. It looks like Jeffrey Henney just locked up the brakes and just ran into the back of the McLaren, so just missed his braking point slightly, and into the back of the car in front he went. So wing damage for him, likely see him into pit lane. He might as well. He's got 30 seconds over Charlie, so he'll still come out in 8th. He'll have a fresh set of boots to try and catch back up to the cars in front. So simple mistake in the wet can easily lead to a massive race changing problem, and that's exactly what's happened. Jeffrey has actually decided to carry on, so he's obviously feeling maybe the wing damage isn't too bad at the moment, because obviously I'd guess in the wet conditions you're not needing the downforce quite as much as you would do in the dry. You will still need some of it, of course. It's not quite as bad, so maybe he's going to try and push on. I was going through the retirements just before, obviously you came across there to tell us what was going on, because I wasn't looking at that. Graham crashed in pit lane. Regular George had a few spins at Juncal decided to retire. The Gort had a weird moment where we think something's happened to his wheel. Went off at the Bico de Pato turn 10 at the top end of the hill, and then went into the pit lane. Spike crashed out coming out of the Curva de Sol, and Gypsy George, something happened. I think it was on lap 1 or 2. We're not quite sure what led to his retirement. Troll was here as well. Was due to start in 4th position, and third position in fact, and he ended up losing his connection just before the formation lap started, meaning his car wasn't on the grid.
So then we have 12 laps to go of the season, 11 and a bit if you're picky. Spike's there in the chat saying that was a failure. Perhaps I should have driven to what I know because it was wet. Well, to be honest with you, a wheel in the wet is literally a baptism of fire in the wet.
Just a little bit.
Well, Navy making his way through turn 12, his way up the hill and through the final left-handers, full throttle through here, even in the wet. So we're still using maybe not as much downforce, but still quite a bit of downforce. As Navy will start lap number 26 in the lead. We have 11 laps to go of the season as Navy leads in the Renault. It is Recon second, Sean rounding out the top 3. Well, as it stands here, with Navy leading the way in the Renault, at the moment he's in pole position to take his second win of the season. His last win came at Baku, round number 2. What a way to end the season and put yourself rubber stamping an example to the other teams out here. Recon in second place. Now Recon in the Ferrari, well, he's had 2 wins this season. He's had a second place last time out, 2 third places, one at Britain and the other at Russia. So it's been a pretty good season for him. The race has started, actually. There's only one time he's finished off the podium, and that was at Monaco, where he finished 5th.
Yeah, that was a race where he ended up with 5 pit stops after the massive accidental coming together where Mays didn't realise he was coming out of the pit lane when he was trying to pass someone.
That's
and then
right.
Recon hit the wall the next 2 laps running. He still
right.
got 5th.
Are we having a season review during the last race of the season? I think we're probably just as well to at the moment, because I was kind of calmed down with 9 drivers and the fact that there's the closest gap is 1.4 seconds, so we're probably just as well to. Well, I mean, it's still pouring down with rain. I'd rather be in the nice dry commentary box. I don't know about you, Andy, but
no, I agree.
These wet weather conditions, they just don't appeal to me anymore. I've done my open wheel racing, well, at least on this game. I'm much happier in the commentary box.
Yeah, no, it's certainly tricky situation out there. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, the wet weather is always going to be a tricky one. Some drivers do enjoy it more than others. That's why you get your wet weather specialists, obviously. They just seem to have a knack to know where the grip is, and I can do it in certain games, but not quick enough, unfortunately, for my own side of things. But you know, it's been a fun season. It's been an enjoyable season. There's been plenty of action through the year. We've obviously mentioned Monaco there, which was absolutely crazy. We've seen some fantastic racing. We've seen some fantastic overtakes, and I mean, obviously Jack's the champion, and I would have to say, considering his performance, he's definitely a worthy champion.
Can't take that away from him at all. And you interestingly said there, your choice of words, the interesting year of racing. Well, in the year we've covered what, 3 seasons, I think that is, maybe even 4.
I think we've covered more than that.
I think, yeah, because it's normally a 10 or 11 week season, and then we have Classic Cup and Challenge Cup. So we've actually covered at least 3 seasons, you and I, and it's all unravelling and all. This is it, Andy. This is the last race we'll be doing for maybe a while. I hope it's only for a while and not forever. You mean like forever? There you go. There's
forever?
We're watching a McLaren, and I've said that. Oh, you know what?
No, I'm hoping not either. Without trying to sound in any way soppy or anything, I do enjoy commentating alongside yourself. It's good fun. I think we work really well, bounce off each other good, so it is frustrating that I have to give up at the moment everything during the midweeks, so that's racing and commentaries, unfortunately. But you know, I need to pay the bills, unfortunately, and the new job means that I'm going to be working till 9 o'clock, so all my midweek stuff is kaput after what we got, a week and a bit's time roughly, so just before Christmas basically. I'll still be around, but just not here for a bit, unfortunately.
If we could just move TTL to 10 o'clock start, that'd be awesome.
Oh, we'd be fine there, but the problem is half of them have got to be in bed and go to school the next day.
Oh dear. Well, whilst we've been lamenting about the past and getting all teary-eyed about it as well, Recon's trying to do a job at catching Navy. 3.1 is the gap at the moment, with Navy still trying to hold on to the lead of the race, trying to grab his second win of the season. Looks pretty comfortable at the moment. The rain, Andy, towards the end of this race, it just doesn't look like it's going away.
No, definitely not. Here's an interesting bit. When we were getting all misty-eyed over things there, Navy picked up a 3-second time penalty. And Recon, I've just checked, does not even have a single warning yet.
Well, 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 this really does change the dynamic, doesn't it? So Recon now, I don't know whether the engineer will tell him. Some drivers don't want the engineer talking to them at all. So if they want to find out how many penalties someone has ahead, they've got to physically ask their engineer. I'm not like that. I like to have the engineer talking to me, except if it's a qualifying lap. If I'm on a qualifying lap, no thank you. Don't want to know. Do not want to know.
No, I'm quite the same actually. I like to know the information. I like to know what's going on around me. I think that you can, if you're in a fight with someone, it certainly makes it easier to try and digest what's going on and to figure out what your next steps are, because especially in this game, for example, you only know the car ahead and the car behind in terms of, you know, on your HUD. You only see that, so it can certainly help you to get an idea of, am I closing? Are they quicker than me? Do they have any penalties? It's certainly information when I'm doing the F2 races, as much as I'm usually toddling along at the back. I still like to try and find out, have they got a lot of penalties? Could I maybe still catch up? You never know. Spike just mentioned in the chat, actually, you got donated the wheel by someone from Jarrier's community, which is pretty cool. So that's a pretty good one. What wheel was it, Spike? I am curious to know what wheel you were donated, but that is pretty cool that someone from that community donated that wheel to him, and that's the good parts I love about the sim racing community, is when people go out and they help each other, you know. So we had our charity stream last night, raising a few funds for Mental Health UK. We had Jimmy Broadbent raising over £30,000 for the Mind charity a few months back as well. And you see these kind of things of people helping others with hints, tips, maybe donating wheels, stuff like that. Those are the bits I love about this community. There's a lot of toxicity at times, but the good parts just about outweigh the bad.
Well, let's have a look at this battle for 6th place at the moment. Conti is being reeled in by Mays, 2.3 seconds is the gap, but Henny is trying to reel in the the Renault of Mays as well. 2.1 seconds is the gap between those two, and with only 5.5 laps to go, well, only just the race, but and for the season as well. And what it seems, the time Andy and I have together, it's slowly fleeting away, Andy. So we've got to make the most of it, and it looks like we're going to have a great battle for the lead and a great battle for 6th place on our hands.
Yeah, definitely so, and Jeffrey's doing a great job, because remember, he picked up that wing damage after outbreaking himself into the back of Conti's McLaren, so the end fence is missing on the left hand side, so it's the right hand side as you look back at the car driver's left, but he's still closing up, so it's obviously not having as big an effect to the aerodynamics as it would do if it was a dry race. If it was dry, it would be struggling so bad going up the hill towards Ferradura and through that double right-hander up there, but in the wet, not too bad. He's is closing up as well, so Conti's going to have a bit of a fight on his hands at the end of this race. Recon still just within that 3-second range, but he got it down to 2.4, and it's just starting to slowly creep back up. It makes you wonder, does Navy just have enough time in the bag to just sneak the gap out enough before the end of the race? It's going to make for a tantalising finish, that's for sure.
That is for sure. And just an update on the standings here as Warren comes into the pits again from 5th place. I think he's going for the fast lap because he's got 30 seconds to his teammate behind. This is definitely a attempt to go for the fastest lap of the race, try and claim the last one of the season. He'll have to serve his 5-second stop-go penalty, so the team won't be able to work on the car. Now, after 5 seconds, they can, and away he goes. So let's have a look. Let's see where Conti is. Well, Warren's actually going to cut it pretty close here, I think, to that battle for 6th place. Of course, it's an awkward pit lane, and all this time Conti's doing, nearly 200 miles per hour. Then Warren is compromised on his run down towards turn 4. Could be a lot closer than we give it credit for here. Conti making his way through turn 2. Warren then does manage to escape in clear air, and that gap, there is his teammate just coming into the picture there. Just over 6 seconds is the gap then. So that pit stop, even with the penalty, cost him, what, 24 seconds?
Yeah, it cost him roughly around about that with the additional 5 seconds he picked up during his last pit stop. That means he's made 3 pit stops here tonight, but as you say, he is obviously going to try and go for that fastest lap. Now, of course, with only 9 drivers left in the field, if he does take it, he's guaranteed that bonus point as well, of course, too, so definitely one to go for. He had the gap to do so. It's been a tricky race again, from pole position, made a mistake that we didn't catch on the stream, neither did I off the stream on my side, which caused him wing damage early doors. I think it was as early as lap 2 or 3 that he did that, so he's made his way back through the field, and now he's going to try and see if he can finish it off with a fastest lap of the race. Recon is just about holding on, 2.4 seconds the gap between him and Navy, and that means at the moment the Ferrari driver would take the victory. He's getting sideways on the exit, getting a bit squirrel happy there. And Jeffrey Henny's just about within a second of Mays. Mays has dropped off the back of Conti, so maybe just seeing that racing point just starting to close up in his mirrors, he's just maybe concentrating a wee bit more on defence than attack. They're going to have to be careful though, because Navy on his 34th lap is just behind him. He's not too far off the back of lapping these guys at the moment, so they're having their own wee scrap, and the race leader's coming up. Now, with that penalty, Navy cannot afford to lose even a millisecond here. He needs to get by both of these guys as quickly as possible and hope Recon maybe gets held up even just for a 10 for 2 to try and take this victory.
And of course, whilst they're battling 7th and 8th place, Navy will be looking for his way through. Of course, the drivers don't have to jump out of the way at the first blue flag they see. They are allowed to pass, I believe it's 3 waved blue flags, but that rule to me has always been a bit up in the air. I've seen plenty of blue flags drivers go through and nothing happens. However, that rule stands, so what are they going to do here? Is someone going to be caught out like Jarno Trulli and have to give up a position because they're too kind to the leader of the race? Or are they going to try and battle and say, no, you know what, you're leading the race, you sort out your own problem. Meanwhile, Henny then, looking he's got a good run here on the Renault as we head towards turn 1. Mays has the inside line, and Henny around the outside kicks up a bit of grass in towards Mays' visor and takes 7th place away. So Henny now in the racing point up into 7th place, and even with that front wing damage, looking like he's got a good amount of grip in that car. Penultimate lap of the season has just begun, and it is Navy who is leading the way. Recon in 2nd place with Sean in 3rd. As it stands, Ferrari will be taking the runners-up spot in this season. They will overtake Mercedes with the points they're scoring as it stands. And as it stands, well, look at this. This is the ghost car. Oh, I forgot about that. They're ghost cars on the lead lap. I forgot about that. Well,
yeah, I keep forgetting that as well, and it's miserable.
That is miserable. You've summed that up perfectly. The wet weather, the car's ghost on the lead. I mean, that's, well...
I just want Codemasters to... I'm fine with that to a certain extent, but put an option in there where you can turn it off for league racing, because part of league racing when you're the race leaders is to get by the lapped cars. The good thing you see most drivers do is they will still pull out of the way because they're unsure of it. But part of racing craft is being able to get by the back markers. Ghosting them is just... I don't like it at all. It's absolute. I just want... Give us an option to turn it off altogether for that side of things. That would be fine.
I mean, I was just going to say no comment, Andy, but... well, I'll still say it. But we're on to the final lap of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and that means we're on to the final lap of the 15th season here of TTL F1. It is Navy in the lead, but with his 3-second time penalty, it looks like Recon could try and take his 3rd race win of the season. But on the straights, he's struggling here. The rain has actually eased off slightly as the sun tries to come on through, but it might be too little too late for these drivers. They maybe wanted a bit of dry running to end the season off. What they've been treated to is an absolutely wet race from start to finish. Navy making his way through turn number 10 onwards towards 11 and 12. The final sector of the season will begin now at that 100-meter board. Navy making his way through that final braking zone, and now it's all about that run to the line. He's got to try and put everything into it, hoping that Recon will have a penalty. I don't think he has. Navy here will cross the line in the lead of the race, but I think his celebrations are going to be short-lived, which they are. Recon takes his 3rd race win of the season and wins the final race of the season, with Navy finishing in 2nd place. Sean coming around the final braking zone. Lighty has done tremendously well to try and close down that gap, but it hasn't quite been enough. Sean then will make his way towards the start-finish line to take his 1st podium of the season. At the final round, he will be absolutely ecstatic about that one. Lighty finishes in 4th place here, and pole sitter and current fastest lap of the race, man holder thing, a little bit sideways out of turn 10 there, but he does have the fastest lap of the race. He will be finishing in 5th place, so long as he doesn't make a mistake. Well, it means Henny and Charlie 7th, 8th and 9th. Charlie, that's his best finish of the season, his highest points haul of the season as well. 2 points there to his name, which will take him up to 5 points for the entire season. Warren then making his way towards the start finish line, or is he? He's backed off completely here as he makes his way towards that start-finish line. Everything turned down, wheels spinning across the line. And I think here, what's happening here? He's going to let Conti through. I think he is. Conti then moves up to 5th place, and Warren finishes in 6th place. But your race winner for the Brazilian Grand Prix, his 3rd race win of the season, it's that Dutchman in the Ferrari. It is Recon.
Yeah, good stuff. And I checked it there just on the last lap. Tricky conditions, Recon, no warnings at all. Nada. Brilliant result there, brilliant drive. That's really, really good. Navy, it was 2/10 was in it at the end. So close for Navy, nearly done enough, but Recon takes the victory. He's 3rd of the season, and he rounds out the season in style. You've seen Warren slowing down there to give Conti 5th. I don't think it worked because I think Conti had penalties, so Warren still finished fifth. I think we'll see. I mean that.
Well, for the final time this season, here are your official, unofficial results. It is Recon who grabs his third race win of the season, Navy finishing in second and Sean in third. The Ferraris finishing first and third. That means they secure second place in the Constructors' Championship here. Lighty in fourth with Warren in fifth, as you say, yes. Warren did jump Conti back once again due to penalties, with Conti then finishing in sixth place. Mays finishing in seventh, Henny in eighth, and Charlie, the last of the runners, in ninth place. We lost in that race Graham, George, the Gort, Spike, the other George, and of course Troy, who will have a DNS next to his name, really through no fault of his own. It's one of those things that happens with an internet connection. They can be great when they work, but when they don't work, they cause you the world of grief. And even with a disconnection, Recon came through to win the final race of the season. And for us and myself and Andy, that's the last race we'll be doing for a while in TTL F1. Andy, I might as well let you have the final words, the final say of your possibly final season.
Yeah, so first part would be Recon, Warren and Mays pick up the final Andy Campbell no penalty award. Recon especially for no warnings. I don't know if Warren and Mays didn't have any warnings. I didn't get around to checking them, unfortunately. Yes, I know this seems silly to some people. It's just fun, it's a hobby, but I really do enjoy doing this on Thursday nights. I really do. I've had quite a few people that I've commentated with, and everybody's been great in their own way. And I'm not just saying this because he's on the other end.
He is.
But I'm not, honest. But the one I always have the most enjoyment with is Kieran. I think we just bounce off each other so well. So I'm going to miss doing this. I really am. I hope to be back at some point if work shifts work out later on in the future. But for now, that is me signing off for the final time for TTL F1 in terms of race commentaries and stuff like that. I will still be around, I will still bug you in the chat from time to time if I get a chance. But next season, Kieran will be joined by James to take you through season 16, and what a season it promises to be as well.
Yeah, new teams, new drivers, and new possibilities, and a chance for this time for Jack to try and defend his title with, hopefully he'll be turning up for more than half the season, which is the whole reason he didn't win back-to-back championships last season. But let me be the first to say, Andy, it has been a pleasure. The last 3 or 4 seasons have been an honour, and as well as that, of course, we had that driver lineup, that driver announcement video. I think that was really good work from us both. I mean, you had to put up with me for 45 minutes, maybe even up to an hour, so that was pretty impressive in itself. But I think the moments we've shared out on track, the race starts, the low points, the high points, that I think we've experienced it all in TTL, and yeah, it's going to be big shoes to fill, but I'm sure James is more than capable of the task. But all that remains to say is, Andy, thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure, and I really hope to see you back in this commentary box very, very soon. Don't keep me waiting now, will you?
I'm going to do my absolute best. James is definitely the right person to fill in the shoes, so he's definitely more than capable. Fantastic guy, and I'm sure he'll bring just as much fun and enjoyment to the commentary box next season for you all as well. Do still tune in, obviously. Just because I'm going, don't disappear. No, it's not that good.
And I will say this.
But yeah,
I will say this, Andy. There was a point in this season where you had to lead the stream. I think that's also been a highlight. I believe that was Baku, was it, that you had to lead the stream?
Yeah, no, there was a few streams where I've had to jump in and out because of connection issues, which has been frustrating.
I mean, when we were both in the commentary box, not just when I wasn't here, but when we were in the commentary box together, I literally had to say to you, look, you're going to have to lead this one. Because for some reason it wasn't working on my end. I can never remember why. I
don't remember. There's been so much. There's been all sorts of things. Warren's just messaged me thinking I'm crying on stream. I'm not crying. Yes. I am a bit sad. I won't deny it, because I do genuinely enjoy doing this. I do. Whether it be the racing, which I've started to enjoy again more as well, or whether it be doing the commentaries, I do genuinely enjoy doing this. There is sadness here, but it's not the end altogether. It's just the end for now.
Yes, is. It's not. It's goodbye, but not farewell. I think is
Indeed.
the great words to sum up there. And of course, Andy's not given up commentary forever. You can still follow him on Twitter, Andy. It is Andy81287, and the only reason I know that now is because it's right in front of me.
Yeah, if you got it wrong that time, I would have given you grief.
But yes, he still does commentary. So if you like his stuff, make sure you do go and follow him. And also, just on a side note, make sure you do follow the league. It's at TTL_F1 if you want to hear more about the league. But Andy, I think it's rather fitting that for your final stream with me, for now, I think it's rather fitting that you lead out the stream. Have you been listening? Have you listened to the outro?
That makes it a little bit awkward because usually I'm the one that finishes, but there you go. But no, yeah, still do, anybody watching, do still support the streams, subscribe to TTTV. It's been great to see the growth, because when I first started doing the commentaries with you, I think it was around about 150, 160 subs, and we're now at 320. Just to see that growth has been phenomenal as well. It's been fantastic to be a part of that. Do keep supporting the leagues as well, it'll be fantastic to see. But for the final time, thank you very much for watching us this evening. This has been TTL F1 Season 15. I've been Andy Campbell.
And I've been Kieran McGinley.
Take care of yourself, and we'll see you again soon. Ta-ra.